What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. We got a mini episode coming at you this week with a little bit of everything, as usual. We got some news, we got some recommendations, we got some follow up on our Disney Songs draft from last week, which, if you haven't yet, stop right now, go to our Instagram page, and tell us on our post who you think won the Disney Songs draft, and then tell us your top 5 Disney songs that you think are the best and the ones you think that we missed. So head over there now, but don't forget to come back. Now that you are back, or if you're multitasking, if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, which you should watch on YouTube because the mini episodes you're not missing a ton because it's just my dumb face, unless it's the Travel Tales week. Which we had our last mini episode, which hopefully everyone enjoyed. And this is my nice run-on sentence that goes nowhere and all sorts of random bunny trails. But if you're not watching on YouTube, head over there, check it out, subscribe. Takes 2 seconds. Love to see more subscribers on there, more views. Put some good work into it, especially on the episodes with Rayleigh and I together. Put a lot of time, effort, and hope you all are enjoying it. If not, tell us what you want to see on them. Tell us what's missing, what elevates a podcast to you that drives you to want to watch it versus just listen to it, or do you prefer a podcast just for the convenience? We want this feedback. We want you all to be involved. And we had our Disney songs draft for our set list last episode. Give us ideas for more things you want us to see either draft or more lists you want us to do. Like we've done places we want to visit. We've done all sorts of random things that are escaping me right now. But give us ideas. Comment below on the YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, or go to our Instagram, DM us, comment on our other posts, what have you. Reach out to us. We want you guys to be involved. We want to help make this a show that everyone loves because it's totally easy to make a universally loved show. So, don't know where I started that sentence at all and where I was going with it, but one thing I want to give you a heads up that I'm working on is a final season recap episode of Succession. Might be bringing on a guest on that and just kind of recapping, chatting, discussing the series as a whole, how this final season has been, which, spoiler alert, I think it's been fantastic. This might be my favorite season of the series so far. It's the 4th season. They're capping the seasons at a good number. They're telling the story they want to do and getting out, not letting HBO or anyone else drag it on longer than it needs to be. And that's what I like to see in a TV series. The one thing I hate is to see a TV show that I love just go on far longer than it should and just get drugged down and just lose so much in quality in the writing. And the writing is what makes Succession fantastic. It is so clever. The random kind of juvenile dialogue that we get from Roman while being mature, just so immature of these Kendall trying so hard and being so awkward, but just throwing his business buzzwords in there. It is so good. You should be watching Succession if you're not. It's not an action series, but what's going on, the intrigue, the drama, the dynamics between this family and the business. It's so good. Recommend it highly. So that's in the works. The final episode airs May 28th. That will either be tied into a mini episode after that, or it might just be a bonus episode. So stay tuned on that. Next up, some news. Bad Cinderella, Andrew Lloyd Webber's new musical that we talked about a few times on here, announced this past week that it is closing on Broadway on June 4th, which I'm not a Broadway historian. I don't know how long shows normally run, but to me, barely over 2 months seems pretty damn bad. The opening night from Broadway was March 23rd, so we're looking at just over 2 months. We talked about some original excitement going into it because it's Andrew Lloyd Webber doing the score, the music, and just he did Phantom, Jesus Christ Superstar, Cats, and he's just so talented and one of the GOATs. And then this, we talked about it just getting bombed on reviews, just everyone, critics just hammering how bad it was. And From what I've seen, none of that has to do with the cast, just the story as a whole. The musical just kind of being unnecessary and not really saying anything with it, not really a message, uh, just kind of feeling disjointed. And so that's closing. It did have, like we talked about before, it had a West End run in London previously, and got slightly reworked for Broadway. The rework seems like it didn't do much to fix the problems people had with it on the original West End run. So we'll see if this gets reworked again or if it's just dead and done for. Um, Next, I want to address something from the Disney Songs draft. I feel like I was not true to myself because I didn't draft a song from a Goofy movie, which I justified a little bit at the end. I wanted to do it like truly musical vibe songs, not pop songs that were thrown into a musical. But I also wanted to keep it different from the musical songs draft for the graphic, which was stupid of me. And I really feel like I let Stand Out and I'd Eye down. Those are near and dear to my heart. Powerline songs are the best and of any Disney songs out there. I still stand by that, and it should have made my draft. So I apologize. Another thing, I'm disappointed in myself that no songs from the Country Bears made my draft. Um, the Country Bears movie, if you're not familiar with this, which you probably aren't because it is almost impossible to find right now, it's not streaming on Disney Plus or anywhere, it was a 2002 movie that featured animatronic bears. Well, there's people in bear suits. Um, with some animatronic features. It is based off the animatronic Disney Parks show, The Country Bears, that closed. This movie features Christopher Walken in one of the most absurd roles that I've seen him in, and that's saying a lot. I love Christopher Walken. He's so talented. I will not torture you with my Christopher Walken impression. In this movie, he plays a banker that's just trying to destroy Country Bear Hall. And you don't know why. Spoiler alert for the Country Bears if you haven't seen it. It is because at one time, his name, Billy Bogswaggle, he was the armpit farter. He lost a talent show to the Country Bears because they were playing, and his armpit farting was so good, but he still lost to the Country Bears. They embarrassed him. And so he was seeking his revenge. This, one of the reasons this movie is a staple to my childhood is we went to see this in theaters. My dad and my grandma, my brother and I feel like my mom would have been there with me, but I don't. She's not part of my memory with it. My dad was uncontrollably laughing during this movie out loud, where my grandma was saying something to him and embarrassed by him in the theater because he was laughing so hard at this movie. And it does have some fantastically absurd and hilarious moments, but overall, it does not justify that amount of laughter. Over the years, almost anyone that I have seriously dated has been roped into and part of a family movie night where we have watched this movie. My wife has, my college girlfriend did, all of this. It's a movie. It's been a staple in our family for a long time. Uh, I don't even know if it even had like a DVD release. Like I think we have it on VHS. I mean, I'm sure it had a DVD release in 2002, but like it has some fantastic songs, ones that are standouts from the soundtrack, Straight to the Heart of Love, Can Love Stand the Test, which is Don Henley and Bonnie Wright, Raitt, ugh, Bonnie Raitt in it. Kick It Into Gear, I'm Only in It for the Honey. Just some some absurd songs, some great songs, so catchy. The soundtrack isn't on like Apple. I didn't check Spotify because I don't have Spotify Premium. I'm an Apple Music user, but it's not on there. Like you can't get this soundtrack. It has Haley Joel Osment and it has Stephen Tobolowsky, which you would recognize. You may not know the name, but you would recognize this guy. Brad Garrett, Diedrich Bader. Like, it has a weird cast. It has an insane number of cameos in it too that signed up for this Country Bears movie. It's got Queen Latifah. It has Elton John in it. Sir Elton John is in this movie of the Country Bears. It has Willie Nelson as Wycliffe, Wycliffe Sheen as an exhibit, Don Henley, Bonnie Raitt. The main character of this show is his name is Barry Barrington. He is a bear that was adopted by humans that has an older human brother that they had naturally, that he finds out that he is adopted. He didn't know this, even though he is a bear and they are humans. His older brother told him. And so then he had the young Barry Barrington, the very originally named bear, was obsessed with the Country Bears, and he decides to go find them when he finds he's adopted. It's his journey of discovery, and he pairs up to bring the Country Bears back together before Country Bear Hall gets destroyed. So this is an absurd movie. If you've watched this, comment below. I need to know there's other people out here that have heard of this movie. It's not lost to the ether. Like I mentioned, the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia Phenomenon movie, which has, I'm blanking on the dude's name. It has a recognizable guy in it who plays this garbage man who becomes a kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles. This was it was a Disney, I think it was a Disney Channel original movie, or maybe it was just a Disney movie, but I watched it on Disney Channel growing up. And it's not streaming on Disney Plus. It is almost impossible to find nowadays. And like no one, when I mention this movie, no one has heard of this. So let me know I'm not alone in the comments. Let me know if you've seen this movies. So we're about to wrap this up. Like, it's going to be a short one. They're going to get back-to-back mini episodes that are just short. Going to give some recommendations for things streaming, listening to what I'm listening to right now. Just send you off with some things there. Some songs right now. Ed Sheeran released his new album, Subtract, recently. And I feel like a lot of people hate on Ed Sheeran, but I've always been a fan. Now, some of his albums are more hit or miss for me than others. I really enjoyed Divide. I really enjoyed his first album that I don't even remember what the name of that one was. Something with math. Was that Plus? Was Plus his first one? But this one is Subtract. And the song he opens with on it, Boat, I am just really loving. It Plus was the first album, by the way. I was right. I'm really just vibing with Boat. It has made it to some of my regular playlists. But the whole album is really good so far. I think it's his best in a while, which Divide might have been his last one, so maybe not. But he did not covers album, but he did one that he featured other artists, that every song had a different feature. And that one it didn't grab me as much, but Subtract I've really been enjoying. Another song right now and artist I've been enjoying is Backslide by Jelly Roll. Used to do rap, still does somewhat rap, but he's got more country rock vibes now. And Backslide is one of the tracks on his latest album that is out. I think he has a new one coming up. But I had never heard of, I wasn't very familiar with Jelly Roll before. I discovered him from Bussin' with the Boys podcast from Will Compton, former Husker. They've had him on because he's Nashville based now, and he's been on there regularly. And I just thought I'd check him out, and I really dig his vibe, his music. He was older, the more rap stuff too. Very unique sound, voice. Highly recommend. And then another song, just a random one that I think I found it on an Instagram reel, which usually those drive me crazy, but really like In Between by Beartooth. It's another one that's made my playlist. Got it going on repeat. So, Boat by Ed Sheeran, In Between by Beartooth, and Backslide by Jelly Roll. Now for some things you can watch. We talked about this a number of times before, but season 2 of Schmigadoon just wrapped up on Apple TV Plus, and it was a really good season. It had very heavy Sweeney Todd influences, very heavy Cabaret influences, very heavy Jesus Christ Superstar influences. You get a lot of the themes from those shows work their way into the series, as far as musically as well. I have mush brain today. Um, the composition, the score, whatever they take notes from these. It's really good. So I don't think it's quite as good as season one, partially because season one was so unique in what it is, and this, even though it changes the vibe and the era, it didn't hit me the same way season one did. I'm still excited to see more of it. I think they probably will. I haven't seen any official announcements, but I think as long as it gets good reception, good numbers, that there will be a season three of this. Kind of left it open to that, and I'm excited to see where they go from there. The cast is fantastic as always. Aaron Fiat, so good. Dove Cameron, so good. Kristen Chenoweth, she's hit or miss for me, but she was so good in this. Alan Cumming, so good. Jane Krakowski, so good. Everyone, so good. So check out season 2 of Schmigadoon on Apple TV Plus. The next show I have also talked about so many times on here is season 3 of Dave on Hulu. New episodes air Wednesday nights on FXX. They're on Hulu the next day. I usually watch them Thursday morning before I go to work. And I think season 1 still has some of my favorite episodes of TV of all time. Hype Man, which is episode 5, and Allie's song. Allie's Toast, which is episode 9 of season 1. Those are still two of my favorite episodes. But season 3, I think as a whole, rivals season 1. I think it is the best season so far, from start to finish. We still have a few episodes left. I think there's 3 episodes left. And season 2 was good, but to me, there's a pretty steep drop between season 1, then it goes season 2, then season 3 is back up on par with season 1, if not surpassing it. So that's still airing. It's a weird show. Gotta open yourself up to it. Be open to a little weirdness, but the writing's so good. Lil Dicky is so talented. Chloe Bennett comes in this in a few episodes. She is so good in it, and it is just fantastic. So check out season 3 of Dave on Hulu. And then lastly, could do a throwback movie for you, and that is A Knight's Tale. It's streaming on Netflix. And if you have not watched A Knight's Tale, it has Heath Ledger in one of his best performances, I think, and Alan Tudyk and Paul Bettany and more. It is so good. It is a medieval movie with jousting, knights, intrigue, all that, with some modern music. It opens with We Will Rock You, and it is so good. So check out A Knight's Tale. I'm not sure how much longer it's on Netflix, but watch it before it goes. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this episode. Gave you some stuff that's coming up down the pipeline for the podcast with the Succession recap. Our next week's episode is going to be a review of Heathers the Musical, which was my recommendation. It is streaming on the Roku channel for free with ads. There's not a way to watch it without ads. There's just not. Otherwise, I would have paid for that to watch without ads, because ads drive me crazy. But it's worth it. Saves you a few bucks. Go check it out. I recommend watching it before the podcast, so you know a little bit what's going on. As I do on all of these movies, even if it's a bad one, you're going to enjoy the podcast more knowing what we're talking about. I think it's a little under 2 hours. So check it out on the Roku channel, and then tune in for next week. And don't forget to go down once more. Later.